Football is back.
Here we go.
And so is our friend, Tim Tebow. I love those hearts that were surrounding you, Stephen A. and Tim. So, Stephen A., let's let you say hi to Tim.
Well, I just want to say hi to my brother. I mean, I haven't seen him since the nuptials and all of that good stuff. You look good, man. You look happy. I mean, I know you put the right hand up and all of that good stuff. I mean, he's always smiling, Charlie and Max. But don't y'all see a little glow? It's like the aura, not the Rick James aura from Dave Chappelle and all that stuff. It's just a different aura about Tim Tebow. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it does appear to be there. How you doing, big bro? How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, brother. I think that also happens when you marry up. So that really helps with that smile.
You have married up.
It's that glow of being in love.
She's a wonderful woman. You have married up. You're
all right, well,
up, bro.
let's talk about a little college football, guys. It's the love of many people's lives, and they are so happy that it's back. With their 34-14 win over UAB last night, Miami became the first school from a Power 5 conference to begin the game-depleted 2020 season. The ACC, SEC, and Big 12 schools will play football, while the Big 10 and Pac-12 canceled fall sports because of coronavirus concerns. But Ohio State head coach Ryan Day is hopeful, saying, quote, "While I understand the Big 10 Conference's decision to postpone the football season because of health and safety considerations, the communication of information from the Big 10 following the decision has been disappointing and often unclear." That's what Day said in a prepared statement. However, we will still have an opportunity to give our young men what they have worked so hard for, a chance to safely compete for a national championship this fall. So, Tim, I want to ask you, what do you make of Day's comments about his perceived lack of clarity that he's saying that he's gotten from the Big 10?
Well, I agree with them. It is a lack of clarity, and in my opinion, a little bit of a lack of wisdom. How do you go from canceling everything to now we're going to postpone it? Why didn't you just sit down, get all the groups together at the beginning of this thing, and figure out a wise way with a lot of wise, discerning people and a lot of experts? Because, you know, one thing in talking to a lot of conferences is some people talk to one expert, other conferences talk to a different expert. Those experts don't agree, so you're going to take one side versus the other, and that's where I think college football has missed the mark in this situation. They need to come together as a whole, not just conference versus conference. They need to get a panel of experts to give wise, credible, not necessarily always agreeing, but wisdom where they can really sit down and do what's best for the players. And I agree with Coach Day. How could you trust something that's going back and forth? And you know, Coach Day is someone that I played for, someone that I know very well, and he truly believes the best thing for his players is for them to be in the building, for them to be playing football, because he believes that they are better, their health is better, their minds are better, their safety is better when they're in the building. And that's something that I've talked to people inside that building that truly believe that that is the case. And that's one reason I think we need to be playing college football is I think the young men are in better hands with all these doctors and these experts on campus than they are, you know, in their homes, in their neighborhoods, going around, going to parties. And so I think, you know, he's got a case with that.
Well, Tim Tebow, I wanted to reach out to you because I know you care about these issues, and I know any words that come out of your mouth, you're trying in your way look out for the best interests of the collegiate athlete. I definitely respect where you're coming from. But I must ask, are you of that opinion that they should be playing and that they obviously should mingle together, meaning be together because it's a more isolated and protective environment than if you're out there with the student body? Is that your position about SEC, about the Big Five, or all of Division I college football?
I think all that can do it right, that can do it safely, that can do it with putting the players first, truly putting their health first. I've talked to a lot of different schools and a lot of different universities, and the most positive tests for COVID have come from when they've been home, when they've been with family, when they've been away from the team. But when they've come back and they've been isolated, they've been going through the regimens, it's gone down drastically. And I think when you have all these experts coming together to care for them, I really do believe that's the best place for these kids. And if you can do it safely and play ball, I think you let a lot of dreams come true and you take care of the kids. And I think that would be a win-win situation.
I think you're making a powerful argument for the resumption of play, in that really what we're saying is, remember, not that long ago, because the perception's already shifted, there weren't that many tests available. You couldn't get your hands on them. Now they're much more plentiful. They're more accessible. And so if you have a lot of tests and you have an isolated population, you can actually stay safer than if you're just out in gen pop, so to speak. I think that's a powerful argument. I do think it's a bit undermined, though, if there are no students on campus at all. Everybody's doing remote learning except for the football players. I think that's a bit undermined. Also, the Big Ten originally, several weeks ago, there are 10 players that they know of with myocarditis, which is an inflammation, a very rare heart condition, inflammation in young people of the heart muscle. And then it turns out a number came out like 35%. And then that was revised downward to like 15. Oh, it's only 15%. Which is an enormous percentage to have a rare heart condition at that age. But beyond just that, the health dangers to those actually playing, Tim, there's also the spreading of the disease, right? So the real reason we social distance and do all these things is not so much for our own safety as it is to protect the most vulnerable among us, the elderly, those with pre-existing conditions, and the like. And given those facts, and that we're heading into the winter months, or the autumn and winter months, where they're expecting flu season to make this all much more difficult, given all of that, if students aren't on campus by then, should they be playing football at that time?
Well, I think if students are doing remote learning, then so could the players, but they can be doing, and not going to class, they can be doing that from their apartments, from their dormitories. But I do want to touch on something, Max, that you said with the medical experts is, there has been some doctors coming out saying one thing, but then there's others saying another thing. And so that's where I think it takes a panel, it takes a group of people coming together, because the Big Ten's talking to some people, the SEC's talking to other people. They're not saying the same thing. So while it's credible to say it's a medical expert, is I think we have to have a group of them, because not all medical experts see the same. They don't all look at one stat or one survey and see the same thing. And I can't touch on that because I'm not a doctor. I'm not a medical expert. But I do want to listen to as many of them as I can to do what's right for the players. And so that's where I think, instead of having one that a conference is listening to, that there's a panel, a group of them that are coming together, just like we do for the college football playoff. Well, why aren't we doing that for the kids' best health? That's how I would approach that.
Tim, I would say, I want to just say something about that.
Go ahead, Max.
Yeah, Stephen A, let me just chime in real quick. There are always going to be disagreements and competing theories about a disease we don't know a lot about, and that is true. It would be good to get people together to develop a consensus. As far as I am aware, the consensus, though, there are some people on the fringes who push against the consensus now. It's not impossible that some of what they're saying are right, but there is a general consensus in terms of how much more deadly it is than the flu, in terms of the fact that it can attack different organs, et cetera, in terms of the dangers of lasting effects, of the dangers to people with underlying conditions, and the like. And so it seems to me that there's more of a consensus about it than you're representing here, or at least that I'm inferring that you're representing. Although I do agree generally that if you're saying we should get a panel together to create a consensus people will abide by, I don't think that's a bad idea on its face.
Well, my goal in my heart would never be to put anybody at risk, anybody to have a greater chance of contracting a disease, getting sick, getting hurt in any way. But I do believe from talking to multiple teams, multiple conferences, and a lot of different experts, that the players are in great hands with their training staff, with the doctors, and I do believe they're in better hands on campus going through these tests every day or every other day, depending where you're at, depending what team you're with. But going through these regimens, I truly believe they're safer. And I think that the tests have shown that they're safer than when they were off campus. And so that would also be something that has really appealed to me to say, you know what, I do think this is one reason why we might have a chance of actually having the season.
Well, health is obviously the most important priority to keep in mind, but we did just have a whole segment on mental health, and I can't imagine what's going through the minds of the Big Ten players and the coaches who are on the sidelines as of right now, not being able to do what they love?
You know what, guys? You don't want to ever downplay. You don't want to ever try to compare the pandemic with the disappointment that college football players that are losing a season are going through. But my heart still does go out for them because it is disappointing. The Justin Fields, the Rayan Days, especially this Ohio State team. Honestly, they had a chance to be one of the best teams in the Big Ten, one of the best teams in the country, and maybe win a national championship. And you know what? That is a dream for a lot of those kids. Justin Fields and that crew has worked so hard to get to this point, so my heart does go out for them. It is disappointing. And I do see why they would be frustrated, because they look and they see their peers that are playing. Justin Fields looks at his old school in Georgia and says they're getting ready to play a game. And it's got to be disappointing for them, especially when these young men are saying, listen, we'll abide by whatever rules you want to give us. We're going to go to testing. We're going to do it the right way. We just want to play this game we love. So I got to be honest, my heart does go out for them because it is disappointing. And you know what, regardless what you say, if the team comes back later, they have a spring season, it'll never be the same. They will never be what the Ohio State 100%. Team could have been in the fall of 2020.
All right, absolutely. Well, Tim, thank you so much for your time. We always appreciate you. Good to see you. Okay,
grateful
coming up
guys.
Next, it is finally here, a full slate of NFL Sunday games, and what better way to celebrate than a special edition of Stephen's A-List. You do not want to miss this, and guess what? Rob Ninkovich joining us for that one.